What do you have to say to the camera, Charlie? Hey? How about you, Frankie? Yeah, Frankie definitely likes the camera more than Charlie. So it is, I got up a little bit too fast. It is a sweltering day today. I mean, I think it was 36 degrees Celsius last time I checked the thermostat, and it's not even summer yet. It is not even summer. Jeez, I look like a, yeah, I look like a surfer. I look like a beach bum more than a bodybuilder now. This is ridiculous. The muscular atrophy is getting out of hand. The muscular atrophy and the hair regrowth, I don't even look like a traditional bodybuilder anymore. Anyhow, I'm gonna get the pre-workout meal put together, the usual yogurt concoction with the rice cakes, powdered peanut butter, and the manuka honey. You've got to go manuka honey. It is better, I'm telling you. Especially if you get the creamed manuka honey. So this one, where it's kind of solid at room temperature, or more solid at room temperature. It's not see-through. It's not translucent. It's not transparent. It's not transparent. It's translucent. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, I'll get that put together, eat that, because it's currently 1:45 in the afternoon and I still have to train. I've got one more block of work to do, one more block of check-ins, and then I have to pick Michaela up from the train station. I've finally recorded and almost finished editing a informative video just on protein intake. So whether that's up before this video or after this video, to be determined, it's yet to be determined, but that will be going up some point around the vicinity of this video being uploaded. So yeah, there's that. And let me know what you think of the informative video too, because if there is a demand for it, I will do more informative videos moving forward. I was actually quite surprised at how easy it was to record that video, and I mean, all in all, the turnaround time I think was only about half an hour to record it and then immediately start editing it. So I can definitely do it if I put my mind to it. I can definitely get some informative content out there. It's just, if the demand is there, I'll do it. If not, I won't waste my time. I won't waste your time. But yeah, time to get things cracking. I almost made a big mistake. I almost opened a brand new tub of protein powder for no good reason. But then I just remembered that I still have this left over from my Melbourne trip the other week. So I'll definitely be using this up before I open that tub, because this is quite literally the same protein powder that is in this tub here. And shameless plug too, by the way, code Nicholas20 if you want to save yourself 20% off international protein products. I genuinely really do get behind and recommend this specific protein product from them. It's a protein blend. So it's basically got a protein matrix in it, 2 different types of whey protein. It's got a couple of different types of casein protein as well as an egg protein. So multiple sources of protein are contributing to the amino acid profile of this protein powder, which does make it superior in a lot of ways, both in terms of the amino acid, I guess you could say, the amino acid profile of the product, and then also the digestibility. Bioavailability, you could make a bit of an argument, it may or may not make a difference, but if you're somebody who doesn't tolerate a lot of whey or a lot of dairy, then this is a fantastic alternative if you don't want to go full vegan, because this gives you the benefit of having a few different types of dairy protein, but also the egg protein. So yeah, definitely my favorite in terms of consistency, flavor. You got to go the chocolate truffle. I reckon it's the best flavor by far. And so yeah, time to make the meal. And what I have here before me isn't just merely a meal. It's also a crash course on how you tell somebody you're autistic without actually saying you're autistic. I've quite literally had this as my meal number one, I want to say, for going on 13 months now. So how about that? You can tell that I like mixing things up and having variety, right? But yeah, this meal, and half a serving of heart and kidney support, half a serving of liver support, code Nicholas15 for 15% off. Yeah, and also my midday supplements and a decaf coffee. Can't go without a decaf coffee. All right, so I've got another commentary for you today. You're watching here what is one of my torso sessions, so chest, back, and delts. And I just wanted to use this moment to talk about something that's been on my mind quite a bit lately, And it's quite relevant because a lot of the bodybuilding shows are wrapping up for the year. People are moving into their off season or their health phase or their post-show rebound. And so it carries a lot of weight at the moment, I think. And it will probably resonate with a lot of people, a lot of seasoned competitors, and also just be insightful for anybody who might be new to bodybuilding. And when I say new to bodybuilding, I mean new to the competitive side of bodybuilding. Because I personally can relate to this, and I know that there are a lot of people out there who can probably personally relate to this as well. And that is the idea of where there's a will, there's a way. And I think in bodybuilding that phrase gets tested more than almost any other area of life. Because here's what I see all the time. During prep, people are 100% dialed in. They're locked in. They'll weigh every gram of food. They won't miss a cardio session. They'll train like their life depends on it. And they'll say things like, I'm going to carry this level of commitment and consistency and execution into my off season once prep's over. I'll stay locked in year round. But then when the show's done and dusted, all of a sudden the accountability just fades. Nutrition starts getting a bit looser. Tracking drops off. Training starts to become, I suppose, more optional. People start being more flexible with their training. They'll go from being this incredibly disciplined version of themselves to basically just kind of drifting. And that's the frustrating part, because the truth is the off season, the health phases, these are actually where you build the physique. And prep is ultimately just where you reveal a physique. I mean, prep is basically where you condition the physique. I've got a close friend of mine who's been a coach a little bit longer than I have, and he has a phrase that he kind of swears by or lives by, and that is built in the off season, conditioned in prep. And it's very true. But back to what I was saying, what usually happens is people will say they want to be the best. They'll say things like they want to go pro, or I'll do whatever it takes. But when life gets a little bit stressful, or when money's tight, or when they're just feeling tired or burnt out or overwhelmed, suddenly all of that intensity that they had just disappears and dissipates. And they'll spend money freely on stuff that doesn't get them closer to their goals. But when it comes to paying for the proper food they should be eating, the supplements to support their diet, and the coaching, all of those things that actually really move the needle and actually make a difference, they call it too much, too expensive, or I guess you could say non-essential. That's probably the best way to put it. And that's where the whole there's a will, there's a way part comes in, because life is always going to throw resistance your way. Like, there's always going to be some sort of stress, a new challenge or temptation, or just simply a reason to pull back. That's not unusual. Like, that is just life. That is normal. The question that you have to ask yourself, though, is, do you let that resistance become an excuse for you to stop? Or do you use it as a reason to figure out how to work around it? Because if you're serious about your goals, it's your responsibility, not to anyone else, but to yourself, to find solutions and not excuses. And I don't mean this as a lecture. I'm not trying to verbally attack anybody listening. It's just something that I've seen over and over again repeatedly. People get through prep fine just because they're either afraid of the stage, having not been on there before, or they have this motivation from the deadline. Like, there's a immovable show date and they have to be ready by that deadline. There's no options. Whereas the off season, you kind of have a floating deadline. Like, you might establish certain checkpoints for your off season or the phases outside of a contest prep, but they are slightly movable. You don't have to prep for the next season. You don't have to do this. It's ideal, but you don't have to. And if need be, you can be flexible. So that's kind of, I guess, what I wanted to address. They'll hit the off season and they'll just start and stop, coast a little, spin their wheels, and then when the time rolls around, when they're prepping again, they wonder why they don't look any different. And it's because they didn't put in the necessary work. They succumbed to the challenges of life and used them as excuses to basically just not do the necessary required steps. The truth is, you can't half commit to it. Like, you can't half-ass a health phase and expect to come back better. You can't waste the off season and expect to stand out on stage next time you compete. Every phase matters. It's kind of like a compounding effect. Every phase compounds on one another. And honestly, I think that's what separates the people who really improve from the ones who just repeat the same prep mistakes and look the same over and over again. It's not genetics. It's not luck. It's who can stay locked in when shit gets boring, when it's inconvenient, when you're presented with obstacles and challenges, and when there's no spotlight on them. Like, that's another thing. In contest prep, you get so much attention through social media from your peers, your fellow competitors, your family members, your friends, all being supportive, and that does diminish when prep's over. And if you're doing it for all of those extrinsic reasons, you're going to fail. You need to intrinsically want it. So if you say you want it, and if you really want it, then the question isn't whether you can be disciplined for 16 weeks of prep. The real question, I think, is, can you keep that same level of intent when there's no show date in sight? Can you stay consistent when it's uncomfortable, when life's pulling you in a dozen different directions? Because where there is a will, there is a way, but only if that will is steady. Like, only if you're willing to push through the resistance of life instead of folding to it the moment things get hard and challenging. That's bodybuilding in a nutshell. It's not supposed to be easy, and you can't get around it. If you can learn to embrace that and keep moving forward, even when it isn't fun or enjoyable, then you'll get to see what your real potential looks like. But if you can't, you're never going to reach your full potential. You're never going to see what you're capable of. I mean, me personally, take my personal experience, for example. Back in 2023, when I last competed, at the very beginning of that prep, I was in a bit of a situation. I was financially stressed, I guess you could put it. And not in the sense that I couldn't afford to live the life that I was living, but to persist living the life I was living and living the way I was living, I was not going to have the necessary funds to basically fund my goals, fund my bodybuilding aspirations. And I was presented with a choice in that moment. I could either continue to choose to live my life the way I was living it with the comforts that I had in place, or I could make a change in order to facilitate the goals that I had for myself, which would require me to basically forego some of the comforts that I had in my life at the time, and one of which was a car I absolutely loved. It was a luxury car. It was a Mercedes. It was a Mercedes, and I really enjoyed driving it. But did I want it more than my bodybuilding goals? No. And so I made the tough decision to sell my car. And that's the thing. A lot of people would say, oh, that's extreme, or that's just unnecessary. You shouldn't have to do that. It's not a matter of whether you should have to do something or not, but will you do it for your goals? And the reality is, my goals were important to me. They were more important to me than driving around a flash car. I just needed a car to get me from point A to point B. And so I sold my car. And with that, not only did I have additional finances, but I also had less stress. And the combination of less stress and more finances and a clear vision on what I wanted to achieve allowed me to weave together a better roadmap, a better path from where I was to where I wanted to go. And I saw some of the best progress I'd ever seen in that year.